We have come a long way from the days of simple boil separators, what everybody used to call as anesthesia machine. Now we have come to the era of anesthesia workstation. This has happened because of the demand for the more sick patients, demand from the surgeons because of the new surgical techniques, and demand from the anesthesiologists who wanted to offer more to the patients and to the surgeons. Now, many of the machines, even till today, have certain dangers inbuilt into them. One is the fear of giving less oxygen to the patient. Second is the fear of developing too much of a pressure in the circuit. Third is the fear that we may deliver too much of anesthetic gases and vapors. And fourth is the fear that we may be underventilating the patient or ventilating them more than required. To solve these, many technologies have been brought in. Many ways people, the engineers have started solving this problem, but we at Medisys, we have brought up our new technology-oriented Medivent Grand Anesthesia Workstation. In order to show you that we want to demonstrate the different technologies, what we have adopted in our Medivent Grand, let us go to our machine. Now we are standing in front of our ventilator, which we have been talking about. This is built sturdily with aluminum. This is ergonomically built because the anesthesiologist must have all the controls within his easy reach. Apart from that, a new theory is emerging among the anesthesiologists that because they have to handle the patients which are much more critically ill than it used to be maybe a few months before or a few years before. So we have to deliver something like a critical care in the operation theatre. Now to deliver critical care, we have to have equipments which are up to it. And for that, this is the machine which are proudly showing in front of you. But to become that, there are two factors. One is how safe is the machine, and second is how is its capability. And we'll show the safety factors in our machine first. The most basic danger in the machine is that it may fail to deliver oxygen at the level it is supposed to. To protect from that, we have an oxygen ratio controller. To protect from that, we have an oxygen failure device. To protect from that, we have an oxygen sensors which is built outside the machine and which can be interpolated between the inspiratory limb and the expiratory limb very easily. So these safety features will take our level to the next height. On top of that, we have a system in it where if you are using air, the nitrous oxide will be automatically locked out. So this is a very big boon for our machine, what we are standing in front. Now I will introduce you to our machine. The current trend is that everybody wants an anesthesia workstation which will be able to deliver to critically ill patients, because today we are dealing with patients which are having severe comorbidities, which are having so many added disorders that we need a critical care like situation in the operating room. And to do that, we need equipments which will be able to deliver that. So we have built the machine keeping that in mind, and we have given you systems which will deliver safe anesthetics to any critically ill patient. And to do that, we have to have two devices. One is a safety device and second is the capability device. We talk about the safety device. The most dangerous thing which any anesthesiologist dread is lack of oxygen delivery. To counteract that, we have several devices which are inbuilt into our machine. One of them is oxygen ratio controller. Second of them is the oxygen failure protection device, and also on top of that we have an inbuilt oxygen analyzer. Now these oxygen analyzer also can be interpolated between the inspiratory system and the expiratory system wherever, so that you can know the expired oxygen concentration also. So these with safety devices we have added few more. One of them is when you are using air, you cannot put nitrous oxide on. This is a very useful device. And second safety device, which is very specific for us, that with the characteristic of the patient lung changing, our machine will also adapt to that. I will come to that when I discuss the ventilator after this. And second is the capability, that is the main thing which we are doing is giving a ventilator which is equivalent to any critical care ventilator available today. The machine has several safety devices. One of them is breath-to-breath correction. What we mean by that is that if the compliance of the patient goes down due to some reason, the machine will automatically try to correct it and bring back the normal tidal volume what we have set. And this is a great blessing in patients who may develop pulmonary edema, who may develop bronchospasm during anesthesia. There is a compliance calibration. This is also a very unique thing. You know that every part of the machine, the breathing circuits and all, they have their own compliance, and then they may change with the flow, they may change with the size of the tubings, and this machine automatically calibrates the flow according to the compliance. Another safety device is oxygen failure protection device here and oxygen ratio controller. By this what we mean is that simply if there is no oxygen, nitrous oxide will not come up. If oxygen falls, the nitrous oxide has to fall, and without oxygen no nitrous oxide will flow. And always oxygen and nitrous oxide will be in equal ratio. That is what we call oxygen ratio controller. Another very interesting safety features in this machine is the air nitrous oxide lock. By this we mean that if nitrous oxide is running, air cannot be put in, and while you want to use air, nitrous oxide will not run. By just simply flicking a switch, that means nitrous oxide and air will never simultaneously run. This is a big safety factor. To check the oxygen flow, we have a very sensitive oxygen analyzer incorporated in the machine. It is externally visible, and the sensors can be put in the inspiratory limb of the circuit or in the expiratory limb of the circuit. By that I mean they are interchangeable. The machine offers you very easy way of selecting the mode of ventilation. With a flick of one switch only, you can go on changing from one mode to the another, which is very easily visible, and also it is depicted in the data displayed on the screen, and it will also show the changes it produces on the machine parameters on the screen. In the olden days, we used to depend on the bellows or the bag we used to hold in our hand. That is to tell us the early breathing efforts of the patient and also the respiratory characteristics. But now we have sorted it out by putting an inverted bellow outside the machine. By seeing the bellow, the anesthesiologist can easily find whether there is a big leak, whether there is the effort by the patient to breathe, and any other untoward thing happening in the airway. Whatever we have demonstrated to you so far is the culmination of all the technologies we have acquired in last 40 years. Our last 40 years' experience are brought up to this level where we produce the safest of the anesthesia machines currently available. On top of that, we have a very prompt and very efficient backup service anywhere in this country and even outside the country. We have availability of the spare parts at a very low cost and always available. And also, if you want to upgrade your machine to the next stage, then we are there to do it at free of cost. And all these at a price which will always surprise you, and we are always there to serve you to your satisfaction.